Say hello to my 3rd and 4th grade Virtual Academy learners. How you guys doing? This is part 2 of the popping hand project. This week we're going to be adding color in to the hand that you drew with the straight lines and the lines, the wavy, curvy lines that you put in the hand to either make it look like it's sinking in or popping out. First things first, after looking at a whole bunch of the popping hands projects, I still see some that were not done correctly, that I'm going to hope that people and friends in the class will look at their work and decide that they want to redo it. It does not take long for that first part to be done. It does take a long time for the second part to be done. So if you notice some things that are wrong with your popping hand on the first part, please go ahead and either fix it or redo it. So I'm going to show you some of the things that I saw with the first part of the popping hand project. One good thing is I did not see anybody's hand drawn with closed fingers. That's a good thing. I would definitely tell you to redo that. I did see a few friends who drew their hand so low to the paper, which left this gigantic space of nothing up there. If you did that, put your hand and trace it up higher. I did ask you to do that in the video. Make sure that you follow through on it. That's how I can tell when some friends are not watching the video lesson and they're relying on only the pictures in the document to get them by. Don't do that, please. Watch the video, watch it, pause it and play it as you need until you get up to a point, and then draw or work on that area, and then play and continue, and then pause it and work on it with the video. I can tell when you're not watching it because these problems happen. Hand is too low, put it up higher and redo it. Next one. Next issue I saw right here was that many of you had these spaced out lines, which I told you try not to do. I gave you a set number of like 15 or 16 lines. Some of you only put about 7 or 8. You're pushing it. I'm asking you for the requirements. This is what I'm hoping for. I let it slide for a few friends. But then the only other problem is, if you have these lines here, and then you drew in the hand, if you look right here, there's this curve right here in the hand. Where is the rest of the line that's supposed to be matching up? If you have this line coming in here from the side, which should be a straight line hitting the hand, then you have the curve that continues to the other side where the line finishes. This is just a curve. Where are the lines on the edge of the paper? Many of you did that, especially around the fingers and in the hand. The wrist might look okay for some of you, but then all of a sudden you had these lines and these curves which didn't meet with anything. The fingers, look, you're supposed to have a line that connects from here to the finger and continue around. So the curve meets something else. Many of you just put 20 curves in the hand, but in the background there's only 8. If you did 15 straight lines on the side of your hand, you should have 15 curves. They should match. If you did that, redo it. The last one, some of you skipped and didn't even use a ruler to draw the straight lines. If I'm asking you to grab a ruler, a straight edge, a folder, a book, something to help you draw straight lines, use it. Use that guide to help you out. Some of you just freehand drew lines. Some of you drew lines straight through the hand and wrist, which was not supposed to happen. Again, that's how I can tell that you're not watching the video. You're just skipping by. You look at my picture on the last slide of the slideshow and just think that you can do it. I can tell. I can see that there's a problem. Some people just drew free-handed lines. If you drew free-handed lines, redo it. I'm going to ask you to redo it. Redo it. I also have people from some friends in the class who drew the line here, then drew the curve up, but then as they went up, all of a sudden they have a curve down. If you start on the wrist part and you have a curve line that goes up or down, all the rest of them match the same one that you started with. This one is curved up, which means every line in the hand should be curved up, not down. Not down if you started with up. I am seeing a lot of this, and again, I can tell when you're not using the video as your guide. It's a little disappointing because I'm giving you everything that you need to know. So if you're not going to follow through, I am going to keep sending it back every single time. Now, doing one little thing that might not be the correct way that I may have displayed or showed, I will let you know and say it's okay. I'll approve it. It's not a big deal. But some of you have done some very dramatic things to the picture that are not working out. So, no. Go back in and fix it or restart it. Or watch the video, work with the video, and that'll give you everything that you need to know. Okay? So go back in and fix what you have. There are a lot of friends who did a fantastic job. Absolutely beautiful. You have lots of lines here. And the more straight lines that you put back here and then go through the hand, you have the potential to have your project be absolutely outstanding considering what you can do with this. Okay? So if you did make mistakes on this, go back in, fix it, or redo it. Part 1 is easy to redo. It's part 2 that takes a lot of time. So I'm going to move this out of the way. For part 2, you're going to need your coloring supplies. Now you can mix and match as much as you want. You can use crayons, colored pencils, markers, and you can use them as freely as you want through the paper, through your project, without any problems. For my project that I'm going to show you, I use standard Crayola markers. I use my good old-fashioned colored pencils. And again, I had a lot of color choice to pick from, and I enjoyed that. Then I also used my collection of Sharpies. I used my Sharpies for part of it because the points on my Sharpies are a lot better to use than the points on my standard Crayola markers. This is much more fine. I can get a nice detailed line in there when I'm working. But I actually use both of these in my project, as well as colored pencils. I did not use crayons, but you may use crayons if you wish. So I'm going to show you what mine looks like. I am not going to show you a step-by-step. You guys know how to color. I don't need to show you how to color. We have talked about solid colors. We have talked about lines and patterns. We have talked about values and blending changes that you could do with your coloring supplies. So I'm going to show you my finished work. There it is. I had an absolute blast making this project. So I have this little guide over on the side, and you're going to see it in the document that I took this same picture, and I put this little guide over here. I'm going to line it up with what I have. All right? So I have 3 different ways that I did this. Now, if you have a clever way that you would like to have this uniquely designed or placed, you can go ahead and try it. Just remember, if you're going to be using coloring supplies, and you go ahead and start coloring it and you don't like it, you're kind of stuck with it. So make sure you think before you do. Have a plan and then follow through with that plan. The bottom part I have here is solid coloring. I just use standard Crayola markers and solid colored. But on the outside of the hand, I did hot colors, reds, oranges, yellows. On the inside of my hand, my wrist right here and part of my hand, I use cold colors, blues, greens, and purples. I want you to separate those as well. Now let's say that you want to match exactly I have. I have hot colors going around the outside of my hand and all cold colors through the inside. That's fine, or you can flip it and put all cold colors around your hand and all hot colors in your hand. So I started with purples, blues, and greens. I stuck with cold colors all the way up in my hand. Do not start with cold and then change to hot. That's one of the schemes I want you to stick with. So you need to figure out whether you want hot on the outside like mine and cold on the inside like mine, or flipped, where you want cold on the outside and hot colors on the inside. It's your call. This is solid color, fully colored in with marker. It's full and filled in. It is simple to do, but it is not challenging. That's the bad part. It is not challenging to just have solid color in there. All right? But some of you might choose to put this in there, and that's okay. The next chunk that I have, I use colored pencils. Marker will not work for values, so stay away from marker if you want to show light to dark changes. Light to dark or dark to light. This is quite challenging. You can do it with crayon as well, but colored pencil seems to be the best way to get it to work. So some of you in your values, especially from the 1-point perspective and from other projects, the light to dark and blending that you did was spot on. I really liked it. You can use those skills for this. So if you look over here, I did hot colors on the outside, and I did light to dark, and then inside of the hand right here, I used this purple color, and I went light to dark and then back to light again. All I wanted to do was show value. I made the choice to do light to dark to light. You might just do light to dark, light to dark, light to dark, light to dark, or light to dark. You can make that choice if you want to. But the value changes, I had a lot of fun with because I do like showing value with colored pencil. Now the top part I did is by doing lined, dot, and dashed patterns. It is not fully colored in, but I wanted to make sure I got tight designs and patterns that repeat themselves throughout. So that's from these red dots and dashes and these blue zigzags up above. So again, I used my hot colors around the outside, and you can see the patterns and designs I did. But then I changed in the finger. I did not do the same pattern as I did on the outside. So you can see right here, I did like this dotted and dashed red background design. But in the finger, in that matching section, I did a zigzag blue pattern. Same right here. I did this arch in yellow, but when I got to the purple, I did this curved line inside the finger. It's a repeating pattern using a cold color, which matches what I have here. And then so on all the way to the top, I have this unique design right here. I have dots, swirls, more half line, full line, half line, full line. I have like an argyle pattern, which is diamonds that just continue to cross. I've got an arch, and then I have dots and dashes there. Then here, I've got zigzags, curved lines. I have an X with triangles in it, dots, and then straight lines going up. You can mix and match as much as you want for this. I separated it into 3 equal parts. Let's say, for example, you might go, you know what? I want to do the whole thing in value. Go ahead. You can do the whole thing in value. I'm okay with that. I cannot wait to see what that looks like. Maybe you want to do these design and line patterns. That's going to be your idea. The whole thing, top to bottom. Go ahead. Even if you wanted to just do solid color, that's okay. Even though it's not the most challenging thing to do, it'll still look very colorful and neat as long as you take your time and you color it in if you're going to do the solid coloring. The other thing is that friends might go, can I do like half of it, this bottom half in value right here, and then do the top half with line and dash patterns? So instead of 1, 2, 3 sections, I have 1, 2, and can I do it that way? Yes. Yes, you can. Can you alternate and go, well, right here I want solid, then right here I want value, then right here I want lines and patterns, then I want to do solid colors, then values here, and then lines and patterns? Yes. I am giving you creative freedom throughout this entire project as long as you have a plan and you follow through with it. Don't be lazy. If you want to do the solid coloring, which is quite simple, fill it in. Fill in the coloring. If you're going to do value, make sure that it's colored in and you see the light to dark changes. If you're going to do dash and dot patterns, make sure that they are tight, close patterns that very much limit the amount of the background white paper that you can see. This is the only one up here that has a lot of white showing, and I'm thinking of a way to maybe filling that in with another pattern inside there. That's what I'm thinking about right now, actually, while talking about this. So, you have lots of choice about what you can do for this. I've got it here. It's in the document as well. What I want from you guys really to keep an eye out for is that inside the hand and fingers and wrist, it's either the collection of hot colors, reds, yellows, oranges, which means your cold colors go on the outside, or you flip it what I have. You put your hot colors inside the wrist, hand, and fingers, and then take your cold colors and put them around the outside. I am really looking forward to seeing what you guys can come up with this project. All right? But take your time and be patient. This project did take a bit of time to plan out and get it done how I wanted. All right? So you might want to think and see what supplies that you have. Again, I'd use no crayon. I use colored pencil, Sharpie, and Crayola marker for mine, and I think it turned out quite well. All right? So I want you to spend some time looking at how are you going to do this, and then go ahead and follow through. All right, I cannot wait to see what this looks like in the end. I love the popping color of this. It just looks amazing to me, and I hope that yours does too. So do a great job. Focus on what you got to do. And if you have any questions, just ask through Seesaw, and we'll answer them as soon as possible. Otherwise, good luck, have fun, and I know that you guys are going to do a fantastic job on this one. Have a great week, everybody.